Yeah, baby. Wonder if all my bad decisions get accounted in the algorithms. No statistician could dissuade me from my bigger vision. I know my occupation's quite an unlikely place in this world to occupy and talk about upon a daily basis. Our information's predetermined by some biased business. We all in sermon to Silicon that push out lovely neighbors. I'm done with paper chasing, think I'm on to bigger banquets. This that full circle, new wave, energy on a Tuesday. Turn a blue day to a bright hue, yellow with a smooth A in hair. Extra fruit, the brand. You can't move me, the music is man. It's a con job, but this grand. Been blessed with a great hand amongst many that stank. And yeah, it took some hard work, but blind luck play a huge role. And if they say that it don't, then they feeding you fool's gold. And if I know one thing, the truth's home. Even if it's a tough thing to swallow, an even harder thing to hold and truly know without a doubt while on the globe. And even though that seems inherent, it ain't always so apparent. Dangle carrot, you ain't always gonna get it. But don't worry, it's a pretty February in a year with more to carry and more days is yet to come. Under the sun, taking the ferry to the city where the moment's extra pretty, like the people, like the idea that I keep inside my brain that isn't equal to the real world. All that stress ain't saving me fear though. I swear to God I'm trying, but they pushing their demons down my esophagus, screaming the easy life, what I want always. Praise made up holidays, tell me that love is the answer just to boost this economy. Buy more sell now, but I ain't following. I ain't a hollow man, I'm fuller than fall winds. Take it all with a tall grin, and if you feel it, do it with me. And just sing what the song says. Take it all for what it is. It ain't all so big. So big, so big, so big. Take it all for what it is. What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. It ain't all so big. It ain't all so big.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey everyone, it's me, SB.
Dearly beloved.
Listen, guys, y'all know what tonight is. It's Monday night. I don't have the other half of my dynamic duo, but I do have someone that is definitely going to give you all a good show. You all may know him by the name of Bruizzr. So let's go ahead and bring him up. Hey, sir.
Hey, how's it going, ma'am? How you doing?
I'm doing good, good, good.
Oh, yeah, I'm Bruizzr.
Hopefully, but maybe not. But hopefully, most of the people that are here or that will be here tonight will be familiar with you. But just in case some of those that are not, I want you to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself because you are definitely over on Instagram doing your thing and you have a YouTube presence. But I don't know if I've seen you on TikTok or not. Have you been there?
Yeah, I got actually that's where I got most of my following at on TikTok. But
Must be going in opposite directions, but
yeah, I've been rebranding for the past couple months, and I think I actually past couple of weeks got solidified on the direction I want to go with my content.
okay.
I'm a married man. I live in Georgia, veteran of the military. I'm a dating compatibility consultant. I got my image consultant certification back in July, and it came with a lot of other things that related to dating and relationships to put me in a place where I had enough credibility to speak in the spaces we speak in. And what I started to learn, kind of motivated me, influenced me to go in a different direction. I see a lot of content that's uploaded that's completely separating the two. There's not a lot of content like yourself, a lot of content creators like yourself that's bringing us together and trying to find solutions. And I just wanted to be a part of that. So I had to rebrand my perspective, the things I believe in, the principles, and just lean more on the things that I do on a daily basis, surround myself around a circle of people that have similar results. And once I was able to do that, I started to see different patterns and behaviors around people. Now I'm sold on the fact that whoever you have in your circle is your reality. You know what I'm saying? It paints the picture of what your reality is. And instead of leaning so hard on statistics,
I like that because that's what we need to hear. Because fear is what's hindering most, or I should say, fueling the fire of this gender war that's been going on for who knows how many years. I've been in this spot, what now, 2 years, and ever since I stepped in this spot, I've been hearing about it. So it has definitely been going on a lot around here and for a long period of time. So if we can conquer that fear, I have some more examples of why not be fearful. There's no guarantees. Now, don't get me wrong. There are no guarantees. So there's always a chance. But if it's something, like you said, if it's something that you want and you have placed yourself in a situation where the reality is this will work, then why wouldn't it work for you?
exactly.
So I agree totally with that. I tell people all the time, you create your own reality, but people don't believe that. They say they argue me down. No, no, no. The reality is 50% are making it, 50% are not. Okay, so guess what? Want to be in the 50% that is making it. Want to be there. Let's don't talk about the ones that's failing because I don't fail at anything. It's my goal to win. So make it yours. So I appreciate the fact that you have said that. So listen, I feel like I made an excellent choice for tonight, co-host. So we got to do this again, of course. But for now, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Well, I have a channel with 60,000 followers on the Style Chief where I do men's fashion. I've gotten to the point where I've started doing sponsorships, and the only reason why I'm not doing videos is because I'm not getting any sponsors. I got a little bit arrogant. That's like I'm not doing any videos unless I'm getting sponsored. But the show, the channel that you can find me at right now, where I'm on most of the time, and probably going to be most of the time from here on out, is called Love Cost Podcast, and it's basically where I help men and women expose the issues that's keeping them from being compatible for the partner they desire. Not men, period, not women, period, the one you want. Because we can all agree that the person that one person is specifically want is subjective to their preferences, their dating preferences. So
Mm,
we have to be a little bit more sensitive. Everybody's cup of tea is not the same. It don't taste the same. Some people like 2 things of sugar. Some people like no sugar at all. So what I do is I sit with them and I'm like, okay, you want a committed partner. You know what I'm saying? What are the things that you bring to the table? And what are the things that you want this man to bring to the table? Does it line up? And I often find that a lot of women specifically have a lot of red flags based off of their traumatic experiences they had in relationships prior to, becoming single again.
absolutely.
That they haven't been able to shed themselves or rid themselves of. So it's making it harder for them to stay in a relationship long enough to tolerate, differences or challenges. So they
I
become
agree.
real dismissive early in the dating age, and it's just really hard for them to put the anchor down, and just stay put.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. You know, it seems simple. Well, the solution is simple, but when you're dealing with affairs of the hearts and emotions, it's very tough. I often say to people, and I'm saying it again today, in order to be in a relationship, I should say it different. A relationship is a grown up affair. And if you're not grown and mature, you will probably fail at it, or there will be a lot of growing pains that come with it. So check yourself before you even try to go into a relationship that's intended to be married. Check yourself. Make sure you're grown and make sure make sure you know exactly how to act or respond to those emotional things that will they'll pull at your heart because guess what, love, like, it tears away, it reveals all thing love does. And if you ain't dealt with those emotions or those traumas that you're talking about, that love thing it'll get you. You'll be like vulnerable in a little in the bed in a little fetal position wondering it hurts. When is it gonna stop? You know how it go when we upset or when we haven't dealt with something or we angry, we lash out, and the first people you lash out with or at are the people that you love that are dear to you. So again, y'all got to grow up. If you want a marriage relationship or a long-term relationship, that's grown stuff. Grown stuff is required. How about that?
Amen to
We
that.
we need to understand that. I don't think we say that enough. I think we leave it open to everyone because that is the goal. It is. I feel like companionship and relationship is the goal. but it is a grown person's affair. It really is. And until you've matured, stay away from it. Now, how do you know when you've matured? Is when you can handle, I got one better. When you can be accountable for all those relationships that you've had in the past that didn't work. Because it's typically it takes two people to ruin a relationship.
Amen
So
to that.
that's when you know, when you can be accountable for what you've done, because we're looking for correction and we want to be the best versions of ourselves to give to someone else. And if we haven't accomplished that, we ain't ready. We're not ready. So we have new we done gone to the left. Oh wow, we got to go back. So listen, before we get started with the show, I'm going to say hello and welcome a few people because you have and I too have TikTok followers, and they get in there and they be engaging. I just love them. If you all are here anyone from TikTok for the first time, make sure you're subscribing to SB Nation or SB. Well, that's my email address. I don't want to do that. SB Live. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Turn your alerts on so you can be here when I'm here, right? Y'all can get that. And y'all can plug in, and we can just engage each other live. So make sure you do that. Those of you that are over on TikTok. Also, you can go over to Bruizzr's channel. If you have not subscribed, please. If you recognize him, go to his channel, subscribe to his channel, and y'all continue to do all that engagement that you do. Instagram, same thing. If this is your first time here, make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel, which is SBU Live. Turn your alerts on, and I appreciate the fact that you are here. And my YouTube family, y'all know, and I just appreciate y'all so much. Y'all support everything that SB does most of the time, I can say. And thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Tonight's topic or tonight's show will be love, honor, and obey, the deal breaker. Y'all know how tonight's going to be. But anyway, before we get started, I also want to say hello to a few people who haven't made it here to the live. I appreciate you all that are on time. Y'all, I'm getting better. I think it was like 7:05 tonight, and pretty soon I'm going to be like on the front side of it, and I'm going to be waiting on y'all. Now, when that happens, who knows? Who knows what's going on. But Trey, how you doing? It's good to see you. Mike is good. They are delayed. Mike is good. Okay, Trey, thank you so much for that. But Trey, I got a question for you. I think it was you that on last week told me Coach Greg Adams had a video about me. Can you give me a little bit more information? Because I have not seen a video from Coach Greg at all. So I would like to take a look at it if you have it or if you know anything about it. Just notice y'all spell honor the fancy and proper way. All right. I got you. Thank you so much, Trey. Who is Mr. Gilbert? What's going on, Jolie? Hello. Post-traumatic relationship syndrome. Trey, you done gave it a name, or is that real? Is that real? You know what? You guys in like the 2020, since 2020, y'all just been coming up with so many different words and terms. I mean, y'all just got something for everything. And I don't even know. Who knows? Dr. Steele, what's going on? Jojo. Hey, Jojo, it's good to see you. Tamika, Jedi. Hello, you guys. JG, what's up? It's good to see you too. Clement, you doing okay tonight? Love Cause. Oh, there you go. That's what his channel is. Love Cause. Hey, y'all. Y'all see who that is? That's Mr. Bruizzr in the house. Let's see who else. If I missed someone, which I know I did because I saw T-Shaw. What's going on with you? I hope you're having a good night. So, y'all know throughout the show, we'll be shouting you out or reading your comments. We appreciate the fact that you all are here. We're going to have a good show tonight. As you can see, the title of the show is Love, Honor, and Obey. Sugar Curls, what's going on? It's good to see you. And this is all coming with a cost. So, here we go. We're gonna get into it. Mr. Boss is gonna have we're gonna have a couple of videos, I think, that we're gonna show you all throughout the show. And y'all ain't gonna believe some of this. Some of y'all, we're gonna be running some of y'all away. We're talking about fear. It's gonna get worse by the by the end of the show. So anyway, Bruizzr, before we get started, is there anything you want to add right now before we jump into some of this love, honor, and obey?
No, ma'am. It's good to see y'all chatting, popping in the chat. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, they're good people over here. I don't have it. Well, let me shut up, y'all. Y'all, we got to whisper because Lady D ain't here. We talk too loud, she might hear us. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so love, honor, and obey. So, Bruizzr, when you hear that, what are your thoughts? Your first thoughts?
Love, honor, and obey. When I hear those, what I hear and what I get a sense of is, sacrifice, discipline, and just uh, staying focused on the end game, the bottom line.
Hmm, I like that. So when I hear love, honor, and obey, I think of vows. I think of the vows that we take when we're standing up there and we're getting ready to get married and we're like giving our lives as a woman, we're giving our lives over to these men. And it's like, oh, take me, love me. You already honored me. You've given me your last name, and I promise to obey you. That's how it is. Listen, I got to tell everyone, if I haven't said this already, I know I have, but I'm going to say it again. My marriage vows and me even being married didn't get real to me. I mean, I was doing it. I was sincere about my marriage, sincere about my husband, and all of that. But I promise you, until I started saying my vows, it didn't become real to me. As I began to say my vows, my knees start to shake. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else. Hey, Anissa, Samaya, hello, how are you? I don't know if that has happened to anyone else, but my knees begin to shake when I start to say my vows. It's almost like, something just came over me, and I was like, what am I saying? Did I just am I, and since then it was like, wow, I got it. It's like came over me, initially or right before that, it was me and my boyfriend. We know we're supposed to be married. We want to be husband and wife, all good, but it just wasn't as serious as it needed to be. I didn't know that, but then right as I started saying my vows, the knees started shaking and I start hearing myself saying them and it started getting within my spirit. I realized at that point, ooh, this is real. And so from then on, I've been taking it very serious. And I was like, okay, I got this. So that's what it says to me. But so often I do videos, and it's like you said initially, I'm always trying to find a solution, but I'm all about being accountable also. So I did a video, or somebody else did a video, and my comment to that video was something about a woman should obey her husband in order to, or something of that nature. But a lot of women went crazy about the word obey. And I'm like, well, why you going so crazy about the word obey? Because, we obey a lot of things, street lights, police officers, and things all around us all the time. So what is so crazy about being in a relationship where you obey your husband? And I had to explain to these ladies that for me, I don't know what it does to them, but obey to me means I have some discipline and some structure in my life. And that's how I see it. So how do you see obey, Bruiser, as the male? How do you see it?
Well, when I look at obey, and I can kind of understand from a woman's point of view, you can't really. It's really a difficult term for a woman to be able to hear that, because especially if you try to make it parallel to societal laws and public servants and stuff. Those are laws that you're forced to have to do. You know, when you're in a relationship, you have the option whether or not you want to do these things. So uh, I could see that. I have enough of sensitivity to be able to see that. Okay, that might be a little bit triggering. You know, so when I look at obey from a man's point of view, I would, if I'm trying to enforce that, or if I'm trying to get my woman to obey me, I wouldn't really use the word. But if I did use the word, I would hope that she would receive it as a way of giving me grace, so I can uh do the things I need to do for the household. Get us over the hump, get us where we need to be. Do your part. Not necessarily obey me, but obey the plan that we put together and agreed upon before we got started on this journey together. Be obedient to the structure, the strategy that we created together. Stay disciplined. Not necessarily obey me as I'm your commander or your master, but obey the time we invested in, like where we're going, the direction and trajectory we're headed to. Let's be obedient to the things that we need to do to keep us moving in an upward projection.
So obedient and obey. So we do wordplay in order for it to land better. Is that what we do?
Yeah, and
Is that how is that how
I
it's
think
done? We
I think obey is it comes off as if you don't put the context behind it, it's a chance that it can be looked at from a way to where a woman would be like, okay, obey who? Like who are you? You know what I'm
you're my
saying? I know you're my
husband.
man, but I'm a woman too. Like we live in a society that today where you gotta really be more sensitive whenever you say certain words.
Why is that, you think? Well, no,
Well,
let me ask the question
I think
differently. Do you think today's the society and the time that we're living in now, as far as relationships and marriage, do you feel as though they're working?
do I think they're working?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're working. I think relationships will work. I think it's just having an understanding of how they're supposed to work is where we're dropping the ball. I
Well,
think it's about the tolerance level you got to have in a relationship. I think I was on a panel where we talked about a couple being together for 70 years. Uh, there's no method, no strategy to it. You just got to love the person you with and be willing to go through all the obstacles, no matter what. No matter
right.
what. No matter if you get hurt. No
I would
matter if you get
agree.
offended, no matter if you get betrayed, you gotta be willing to say, "I'll still love her and Imma stick it through." And that's the relationship I got with my wife. And a
And
lot of people call me crazy for it, but I don't
mm-mm.
care. I decided to love this woman and give her children. She birthed my children. We made a plan together, we're gonna stick through it.
See, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying to you. That's the point I'm trying to make. If I'm going to give myself to my husband, he is going to be one and the only persons that I would obey. Because I know that he's like you just said, I'm going to go through life with this person. He's the person that I can entrust and submit to. How in the world can we honestly say we're submitting if we're having a problem being obedient to the structure of the home? So, I'm not a big player of words because it all means the same thing. We can get rid of obey if we want to and just put cooperation.
And you know what? I'm glad you said it because I think when the women who get triggered by the word obey,
Yeah.
it's a lot of times it's associated with a traumatic experience. Or
Okay.
it's associated with her personal experience with the man she's with,
Authority.
and she's probably
Authority.
she's probably got some untold story or scenario that she encountered with this man that makes her feel like I'm obey, not after what I just been through. You know what I mean? I'm not obeying this man. And a lot of women who get triggered, they attach it to the scenario that they just went through, and they're like, no, I'm not obeying no man.
I
And it,
hope that's the case, but let me tell you something I've been witnessing lately, and it can bring us back into this. And I hope that you're right because I think that, and I've been paying attention. I'm gonna tell you a little story first. One of my supporters went into my comment section. They said, "SB, guess what? That song Tyrone by Erica Badu." And I was, yep, well, this is him writing. He said, Erica Badu said that song was inspired by her aunties. What they did is they sit up all day and they constantly talked about men and their experiences with men, how negative and what the man wasn't gonna do, and this, and this. So after hearing this all day for some time, I don't know how long of a time, she decided to do that song, and they just went and did it, and that's what came out of it. She never experienced Tyrone. It was all made up due to something else that someone else was saying or going through or what have you. And I Googled it because I was like, are you serious? So I Googled it, and he told the absolute truth. She said it. She told the whole story about how Tyrone came about. And then they went into a studio and of course recorded it, and you know.
that's
So
dope. I never thought that.
yeah, I know. See, isn't it something? And see, that's
Yeah.
why I'm going back to what you just said, because um we got to just be honest. There are a lot of traumatic things that can happen and has happened in relationships with women and men, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody's experience, okay? But there's also a lot of negative conversation, just off the rip for whatever reason, just because you black, and it doesn't make sense to me. Because when I'm asking detailed questions, no one has anything for me. I could say, well, did this happen to you, or did you experience this? I mean, it could go as left me in the trash can, beat me up every day and all this and all this. And so what I'm saying this for is because I think what we do is we take from other people's trauma, because influence with women is great. It's big. They hear something and they feel for you. I mean, because we are emotional creatures. We feel for each other. And sometimes I think we wear all of the emotions or all the different traumas and things that we hear, we actually wear it for ourselves. And that becomes who we are also, even if we have not experienced it. Because I've seen some young girls, 16, 17, talking the same way as their aunties talk that are 40. And I know they have not experienced that much life. It's impossible.
You absolutely right, and that speaks to, I think, where you were headed at initially when you
Yeah, I'm
when you
going,
ran
but
into society,
yeah,
because you got whenever we live in a society today where you can turn on your television, you can go on social media, and you can actually feel the pain. You can put yourself in the shoes as a person that's been hurt, and you got reality TV shows. You can shed this, you can feel it, and you can shed those tears, and
yeah,
get a taste of what you might not want, and then that plays on your dating preferences, how you move, your grace that you will give a man. If you start seeing patterns and stuff that you saw on a reality TV show, you're going to be dismissive, and you may not, like you said, have never even experienced it, because we
never
live in
experienced.
a microwave society where everything, the information is just right here. We don't even have to go and date somebody. We're dating through other people,
Absolutely.
and we're taking the trauma with us, and we come into the dating pool ready to date with all this baggage that never happened, and we're carrying somebody else's baggage.
Absolutely. I
And
mean, that's a real thing. And I'm saying, okay, you've never dated this person or any man, and especially too, excuse me, if there's no examples of good relationships or good men anywhere, that's all they have. And that is a very tough hurdle to get over. So that takes me back to the obey part. We obey or obedient or cooperate with a lot of things all the time. That's just what we do as people. So when women here lately, I've been noticing, because you do it too, I'm sure. I watch TikTok, I go to TikTok, or I go to Instagram, I'm trying to find content or what have you. And I also watch police activity all the time because of the business that I'm in, police stuff and guns and weapons and things of that nature. That excites me, y'all. Driving fast and all that. It excites me. So I like to watch these type of things. So I've been noticing that there is somewhat of a trend lately with young ladies, and I'm judging the age somewhere between 20 and 30, where these young ladies will be caught in wrongdoings. For example, they may have gone into Walmart and shoplift, right? Or they may have expired or suspended plates, or what do you call it? Expired plates on their car, whatever. But either way, the police had to engage them for whatever reason. And on at least, and this is just no exaggeration, on at least 4 to 5 occasions, these ladies were found wrong, and the police officer would be trying to engage them in, hey, look, you did this is wrong, bad activity, I'm going to do this, but for now I'm going to have to detain you. You're just explaining to them what's getting ready to happen, and these girls lose their mind, lose it. I mean, you will be like, oh my God, you're wrong, stop, you did wrong, because I always thought, even if I did wrong, I'm wrong. Now it's time for me to humble down and accept this punishment that I'm getting ready to get, because it ain't gonna be but so much, and then I can walk away. But they lose their mind, and then they'll turn around and tell the police officer, you gonna call my mama, or you gonna give me my phone, you better do this and you better do that. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, this is all about authority. This is all about authority. This has nothing to do with this is not wrongdoing. This is not mistreatment. This is their inability to see that these people, however you want to see them, police officers, are in authority right now, and they refuse to obey. See, that's why I don't play with the word, because we need to get it. Somebody somewhere needs to get it, because it could be just you lose your life or you go home at night. See, if you get obey and you realize how you should function when somebody in authority is giving you direct orders, you go home at night. When you play this game like you're wrong, but you're going to be in charge anyway, you don't go home at night. And that's why I don't play on the words, because whatever word is so extreme that you need to get it, or we need to talk about it, then that's what we need to talk about. But when we well, give them the little fuzzy words, we're like, it's okay, you can do this. They don't get it, because there's no way that I'm going to be shoplifting from Walmart. I am so wrong. They catch me and they put me in the back of the police car. I find a way to manipulate to get out of the police car. I jump in my own personal car, and then I run the police officer over trying to get away from the scene. You get what I'm saying? See, we're losing, and I don't want to lose any more young women. Now, I'm not saying the young men don't do this, but it just looks totally different. It looks totally different. So that's why I'm strong on obey. This is what it is. And you need to get in your mind that there are some people that we just have to answer to, and we answer to them because they either protect us, or we are, they have the best information for us. You can put it any way you want to. Police officers are there to protect us. Yeah, we did wrong. Now we have to answer the wrong, but they're still there to protect us. Your husband, the person that you love and trust, when you give your body to at night or during the day or whenever, you giving him everything. You're submitting to him. You're obeying him despite. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to have an ego with your husband, because you all are becoming one. It's okay. Relax in what you're doing and just see how much it can fulfill you, instead of fighting those little things like obey. Don't fight it. Just relax. Just relax. It could be okay. You can still win in the end, but you got to let that ego go. And that's just a major thing that I'm seeing with women now. And it's detrimental to us that we have this, because again, especially in the cases where the young ladies find themselves going back and forth with the police officers, we often don't make it home. And I'm sitting watching these videos and I'm thinking, what just happened? Why did she have to get shot? Why? You're just asking yourself, how did this get from a tent ticket to her? It's amazing to me. And I'm just, I'm not used to women being that aggressive, I suppose, or that, I don't even know if aggressive is the word, that out of control, I guess. Usually when I'm in my 20s and 30s, between 20 and 30, I was really fearful. We were all kind of fearful. We didn't do certain things because we didn't want to end up certain places. So I just don't see that right now. So I guess that's why I'm kind of straight to the point when I'm talking about certain things. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Brutally honest, huh?
I don't want to be brutal, but I don't want anybody to walk away thinking it's okay. You know, because don't be married. Don't get into these relationships. If I don't trust Mr. Boss, I shouldn't be with him. If I gotta think that this man is some kind of way gonna hurt me, or I can't relax and submit to him, then I should not marry him. I just can't do it, because I can't be who I need to be as a wife, thinking in the back of my mind that he has ill intentions. So what do I do? So that's just I just think for so many years, Bruiser, that we've been doing marriage, we've been doing it wrong. We just been missing the whole relationship of it. How it can be good. It's been all duty. There's duty there, but I want it to be good also. So if we can get to a place where it's good and we're fulfilled in it, why not?
I think it's an issue with transparency. I think we don't, when we look at marriage, when we look at other people's successful marriage or people who's actually thriving, we don't get to see the challenges. A lot of people who are married, they don't really want to let you see them in the trenches, the struggle, because I can understand you want to protect your privacy. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to hear any comments. You don't want to see any comments. Oh, y'all marriage is fake. Y'all should break up. You don't. It's hurtful to hear people say that. Like I look at a lot of relationships with celebrities, and they just talk down on them, like Will and Jada. They're still married. They're still
Exactly.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got issues. Yeah, but they're still working. And most of the people that's probably having these bad comments don't even have nobody to hold hands with.
Right.
So, and I think that's the reason why a lot of married couples, they see that and they're like, how can we be? Because you want what I want to happen, what I think would be healthy for people is to be able to see the inner workings of a marriage. You know, what do they do on a day-to-day basis? How do they handle differences? How do they get through challenges? Arguing, the nasty parts, all that needs to be seen so people can be like, okay, I thought marriage was what was this beautiful thing, but it turns out it's not really all that. You really got to go in there and you got to do the work.
You got
You're
to do
gonna
the
have some
work.
setbacks. You're gonna have some ups and downs. Somebody gonna make a mistake. It's not about the setbacks. It's not about the mistakes. It's not about the discrepancies. It only matters if you let it impact you moving forward. It only matters if it keeps you down, keep you from progressing. You're gonna have issues. Can you
Right.
get through them? And if you can get through them, that's all that matters. Because nobody's perfect. You know, you come into a relationship, both of y'all come from different backgrounds, different upbringings. You have to figure out how to mesh with each other, how to meet compatibility. Some things you're not going to agree on. How do you move forward? Who's going to give? Who's going to take? Are we going to compromise? And if we can show that, if people who are married, if they're okay with showing that, then I think people on the outside will be looking at marriage like, okay, yeah, well, I see they're a beautiful couple, but I see that, you know, even though they have challenges, they're able to work through it. So when I get married, I don't have to be caught off guard or shocked or surprised. Damn, I can't believe this dude did this. You said you loved me at the altar. You know what I'm saying? Come on now,
Right.
you know that you're gonna go through it. So you won't be so quick to pardon me because now you came in knowing that, hey, look, we're gonna go through some struggles. And if we have that, if marriages, if we could see people's marriage and relationships with the transparency, then I think it'll give us a little ease of mind when we go into relationships. We'll see that, okay, yeah, they the perfect couple, but they have imperfections.
Right. Right. No perfect couple. I mean, not at all. And you try to show or demonstrate these imperfections and the things that you go through. You try very hard. I mean, we do. I try. But we have been married so long, the arguments are no more, or the arguments are not like they used to be. You don't argue. We've gotten so used to each other, or we've met that one accord thing. We are now on one accord. So the arguing, we don't have them like that. So it's hard to do that. So that is actually why we have a video today. Mr. Boss, are we ready for the video? But before we get there, we got two others that we want to share so we can give y'all an example of what we're talking about. Because I say this often, Bruizzr, how many years have you been married?
About a decade. I'm climbing on to a decade.
See, he's already in it too. So I've shared a story. I've shared it several times, but back when me and Mr. Boss was either around 2 or 3 years in, I got mad one day about something, and I cannot even remember because y'all, that would have been 26 years ago. But anyway, I got upset about something, and I packed up the whole house. I was out. I was like, I got to get out of here before he get back. There was no arguing, there was no fighting. I just don't remember. I was just that disappointed in my relationship. No, I ain't gonna lie. I was that disappointed in him. So I packed up the whole house. I was like, I'm out. My dad and my brother-in-law came over. They hurry up, we packed it up, but we could not. He beat us. He came home before we were done. I had only been married like 2 or 3 years, so we didn't have a lot. So he was like, "What is going on? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" I was just like, I cannot do this. And the only thing I can remember is it was something about it wasn't about this, but what his takeaway was, it was about a dress. His takeaway was he didn't buy the dress because he said to himself, I will buy the dress. And I can just only remember saying to him, do you really think this is about a dress? But what happened at that particular moment, it made me realize that we think nothing alike. He's totally missed whatever I'm going through right now. And all he really thinks that buying this dress is going to make it better. So I settled down, of course, and we had a long conversation. And of course, I didn't go anywhere. But that was probably the worst, or I'm gonna say worst, but that was probably the worst it got for us was that we heard somebody the other day saying, uh, you know, somebody asked the question, have y'all contemplated divorce? I looked at him and I was like, have we ever contemplated divorce? And he was like, I don't think so. We've, even though I left, I was packing up to leave, we've never actually thought about divorcing. It was just at that particular moment, I just could not. I was like, he wasn't getting it. But that, like I said again, that was like the first 2 or 3 years of our marriage. And it was just like, I didn't know what to do. We were not speaking each other's language at all. After that, we had a very long conversation. And I think what we came to conclusions is that we got to talk about everything. Men have one language and I have another. And I think shortly after that, I started reading books about men. One of the books I say that often is called, what is it called? Power of a Praying Wife. And I don't do it too much now, but I used to refer to that book all the time. When I got that book and I start praying for my husband and learning who he is, there's a couple of others too that I got, but that was the most powerful book. Things got so easy. Now, I used to say back then, I was like, yeah, I got it now. He's changing. The whole time I'm reading a book, he's changing, he's changing. By the time I got to the end of the book, I realized, okay, he wasn't the one that was changing. I was the one that was changing. I was the one that was changing through me reading that book and me, just at my end, couldn't do anymore, basically submitting. I got to go. I'm done. I was able to figure out that I needed to have some compassion and empathy for my husband, but I couldn't see it prior, could not see it, was just as blinded, So I used to say, I even say it now. I was like, babe, up until this point, I think that you and I were both two single people trying to do marriage. Our mindsets hadn't totally changed yet to think of each other first. So it was crazy. But then after that, things just started kind of melting together. Then that's kind of where the one pot came from, and things just like start making sense. Eyes start beginning to open. Things got a little easier, start having more money. Things got more easy, like that. It just started happening. But that was the one thing that one of my major takeaways was I needed to have compassion and empathy for my man, my Black man, because I can't be one. I cannot experience by no means the things that he experiences. And now he's here taking on a family. And back then, an ex-wife, back then it was an ex-wife too. So it was like, I can't even begin to understand what he may have gone through or is going through. So I got to figure this out. I got to be in his shoes for just a little bit. I got to hear what he's saying. And so that helped me. That book really helped me. So any ladies out there, or Bruizzr, if you come across some woman that is struggling and may say something like that, and it's just no answer for it. There were no real good answers. There was no particular thing that I could point at. Only thing I could say to him is that you're selfish. That's all I could come up with. That was it. Now he hadn't done anything, but all he could come up with was, I'll buy the dress. So it was the craziest. But anyway, we got past it and it's been a long time ago. But that is an awesome book. It's called Power of a Praying Wife. I know if T-Shaw here is with me tonight, she absolutely knows it. Hey, Bethany. Hey, Bomb Cherry. Hello. How are you? They have been here with me a while, so they have heard me say this a very, very long time. But y'all, I forgot to do something. Y'all, do y'all not know it is my birthday today?
Happy birthday.
I am off. Most people start that way, right? But it is my birthday. I've had an outstanding weekend. Mr. Boss has been great. And, I feel like it was all weekend. So I guess that's why I kind of forgot it was actually today. But my birthday is actually today. Outstanding. But thank y'all so much for being here. Miss Renata, Bomb Cherry, it's good to see you. If it's anybody else that I miss, y'all forgive me. Jolie Howards. Okay, so listen, we got a couple of videos that we're going to play. And then we're going to talk about this thing. And it's going to all make sense in the end, hopefully. Here we go.
The difference between these two women.
For better.
For better.
For worse.
For worse.
For richer.
For richer.
For poorer.
For poorer.
we hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. Brill made it very clear to Jonathan, you cannot be broke in sickness, and in health. To love, cherish, and to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
I'll forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home. In heaven, they hear. On earth, I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you.
I don't know about you, but I know which one I'm willing to give my life for.
Oh, so y'all heard that, right? So, Bruizzr, you see why you got to be to the point sometimes. I'm not saying the young lady was an extreme, but you felt something from her. I felt something from that young lady from that other country. I really, really did. The other young woman, I was glad that she was there. She was getting married, but I didn't feel as though she was taking it serious. I really didn't think that she felt this was a serious situation that she was entering into. That scares me.
I think she was serious. I think that she was showing how she truly felt. Whenever they mentioned broke, that's her serious reaction. From the looks of it, she's not willing to be in it in a poor situation. And that speaks to Western culture.
I agree with that. I don't think anybody plans to be broke. I can agree with that. As far as
but
that, the planning of it.
I can understand it. You know what I'm saying? You get in a relationship, you get married to a man, and a man is supposed to, he's pretty much telling you, hey, this is what I'm offering you, for your hand in marriage. I'm going to make sure that you're provided for. And then you get to the altar, and then there's a vow that's saying, hey, look, we want you to stay with this man, even if he's not able to provide for you. It's a contradiction. So I can understand how the woman felt. Now, the obedient part, we touched on that. She clearly associated that with it's in the back of her mind. I don't know what part of the brain it is, but it's an experience she went through where that term or submission was associated with a negative experience in her life. And when she heard it again, she doesn't know how to reassociate the term with a positive or potentially positive experience. So she's going to carry that. And she said, we didn't talk about this in counseling. She probably should have went to therapy.
Yeah.
Because I could see a lot of, I didn't go to therapy in her.
But didn't the pastor say, yes, we did?
He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. See, to me, that's what made it a game. That's what made it not so sincere, is despite what you've heard, despite what was talked about, despite how a marriage is supposed to be, you are determined to do your own thing. That's what makes it not sincere to me, because I just see marriage as a really big deal, and those things that they mention are those things that those are deal breakers, but they don't have to be. They don't have to be.
But who makes the determination on whether or not the deal breaker has to be or doesn't have to?
Well, she
The
did.
individual.
She did. That's what I said. She did. That's the point I'm making. Why, if we know going in that we have things that are deal breakers, why go in?
Well, you want to give it a shot. You want to have children. You want to put them in the best optimized position, regardless of the things that you might not be comfortable doing. And a lot of women in these days are taking sacrifices. Men are putting these women through the brink.
No,
And
I
they're
agree
still
with
willing to
that.
get out here and make the sacrifice. And I cannot understand it. Like when a woman says, me personally, let me just use my own example because I don't want to try to. So if I tell my woman, my girlfriend, hey, look, I want to marry you. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to offer this. And this is what I want in exchange. And you tell me, hey, this is what I'm going to give you in exchange for those things. Those things are lucrative. I want to do that. I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to make sure you ain't never got to do this or whatever. And then I don't show up. She has all validation and justification to part ways if my offer isn't solidified. And I do the same. And I believe in that. You know what I'm saying? I understand that it's not the traditional way is to, no matter what, thick through thin. But the choice is on the individual. And the individual has never given up their right. They always reserve their right in a relationship, whether or not they want to stick it through or they don't want to tolerate it no more. And that's the life we live with. And if you either get down or if you either get with the terms or it's just not for you. And for me, if I ever, like, I made sure I was determined, everything that I did every day, day in and day out, to just make sure that I showed up where I'm supposed to show up.
Right.
And my offer was complete that I promised my wife in the beginning. And I had it in my mind. If I didn't do this and she decided to leave, I got to be okay with those terms.
Absolutely.
I can't sit here and cry about it. Oh, you supposed to be submissive and you supposed to be with me from death do us part. It doesn't work like that no more.
Well, it's not that it doesn't work like that. I think what is not being said is I stand behind the people who stand behind the marriage, meaning, just like you said, I'm not talking about something happening because things will happen. I'm not talking about perfection because nobody's perfect. But I'm saying, just like you said, I showed up every day being that man I was supposed to be. Excuse me. I'm going to give 100% to that man. That doesn't mean that man is perfect, but I'm going to give that 100%. I'm not going to go in where, as long as you do this, I'm going to do this, because if his intentions and our beliefs are one and the same, that we're both going to give this 100%, I'm in it 100%. I'm in it totally 100%, because if something happens, I'll know that this person still had intentions on doing the right thing, or this person loves me just that much. But before you say anything, let's do these super chats. Mr. Gilbert, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. He says, for Bruizzr and the family. Again, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. He says, SBU and Mr. Boss, thank you. And Love and Cause Bruizzr, thank you so much. Happy birthday, sis. Thank you so much for that. No, you know what? Let me see if Mr. Boss has it, but the $50 gets the money line.
I'm gonna run it every time. Give me mine. Throwing up, need no reply. Money line. I'm gonna run it every time. Give me mine. Throwing up, need no reply.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bruiser, for your $50 super chat. But yeah, Bruiser, I agree with what you're saying, because again, I'm dealing with people. I'm only talking to people. I know I maybe should be encompassing everybody per se, but I only talk to people who have those intentions on being married for life. I don't, I hate to say this, but I don't talk or speak to trash. If you're not a man that should be married, or a woman that shouldn't be getting married, my conversation really is not for you. You can hear it, but there's going to be a part of it that you're going to fall off, because it is very intentional. It's very serious. It's very sincere. There's work to be done. I have a blueprint. I don't have it, but the Bible has a blueprint to where I can go and find out exactly how this marriage thing is supposed to work. And that is where I go. If I fall off, my husband falls off, we have a place that we can get back on with this thing we call a marriage. It's not just, I'm not winging it. I'm not leaving it up to my own discretion. I made a covenant and I made a promise and commitment to my husband that this is what I'm going to do. And I pray that I don't fall away from that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
You said you only talk to people who are married and they want to be married for life.
Mm-hmm.
But do you believe that there are things that the marriage is supposed to have for you to be able to sustain, whatever journey that you're going to be on to be married for life? And if those things aren't there, then what do you have?
Okay, so when you say things they're supposed to have, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, well, let's just keep it as simple as possible.
Okay.
Okay, you need a house to live in. You need a roof over your head. You need food. You need water. You need clothing.
Okay.
You need to be able to sustain the lifestyle you live. And if not, obviously, you can downgrade your lifestyle so you can afford it.
Okay.
But for the most part, you need to trust in each other. You need the fidelity part of the relationship. You need the honesty. You need the communication.
Right.
Overall, you just need commitment. And if those things are falling apart, are you saying that what you believe is the person is just supposed to plow its way through that no matter what?
There's a
I get it that you do, but I'm saying, do you actually honestly expect people to behave that way in today's society?
and you say today's society because of what?
Well,
There's so many
because
options.
we live in today, in this era now.
Okay, so I don't think that people of today cannot have an expectation of excellence. I think it still dwells within us. I just think it goes to what you want and how you want your life to be. You know, we talked about this. What you bring into your life, or the things you allow to come into your life, is what comes in. If I don't want, if I don't want a certain something or influence around me, I don't allow it to influence me. If I felt like, I think like Instagram was influencing me negatively, I wouldn't indulge in Instagram. If I felt like I had girlfriends, you know, as a married woman, if I had single girlfriends or some things of that nature that I felt like was not conducive to me being a married woman, they wouldn't be allowed to be around me. Not in a negative way. It would just
Mhm.
be that this is not the life that I want. I chose this. So my focus is going to be on this and building this. And if my life is one that I choose to be married, and for my marriage to be the most successful relationship that I have, in this time that we're in now, that's going to be my concentration. We make goals all the time on all the things that we want to do. We make goals all the time. I want to lose 10 pounds in 90 days. I want to do all these different things. We make these goals, and men are better than women at it. And you all follow through and y'all achieve those goals, and you get your pat on the back and everything is wonderful and lovely. You can also do that within your marriage if that's what you choose to do. But what happens along the way, Bruiser, is one or two of the individuals tend to get selfish and mundane. Like, it's real simple. You can't allow your marriage to be on auto. I have to work and plug into my marriage every day. I got to make sure my husband is good. If my husband gets too quiet, babe, you feeling good? You okay? What's going on with you? What are your thoughts? What is happening right now? But that still don't make them perfect, right? Same thing for me. If I'm doing something that I'm not that I don't normally do, we have to check in. We have to fly this plane ourselves. We can't just let today's time fly this plane. We have to be pilot, co-pilot in here driving it. And we have to make sure it goes the way that we want it to go. In other words, I've chosen, married to my husband that I have now, to be my life for a time. The time is to death, me or he. Now, if he goes and I'm here by myself, will I get married again? Probably not, but maybe. So you kind of get what I'm saying. This is what I choose. I have to choose this every day. I have to choose this from time to time. This is what I have to choose. There are so many other things, like you said in this word, that can be chosen, but that's not what I'm doing. I don't want drama in my life. I want a calm, fulfilled, successful relationship, marriage with my husband that is built on a foundation of commitment and covenant to God. And I
And
feel
I,
like that's where I'm safe. I feel like I'm safe there. I feel like I don't have to worry about my shelter there. I don't have to worry about my money there. But to answer the question, just as in a fleshly way, if Mr. Boss is going to the cardboard box, I'm going with him. Because why would I not? Why would he go to a cardboard box and I leave him and go somewhere else when I could very well take him along with me, because we've been doing this together for 28 years? Why would I now, when he's down on his fortune or what have you, in between blessings or what have you, why would I now say, well, you know what? Since you're not producing right now, I don't need you. And I go somewhere else and, continue to produce.
that's a beautiful thing, and I love it, and I love the fact that my wife is similar. She's willing to go to the cardboard box with me.
Yeah. I
But I'm
mean, Bruiser, you have done what you said you were supposed to do. You
Mhm.
are doing it. Who's to say you gonna always be here in this place? We could have invested every dime we had extra in the stock market, and when we get ready to retire in 12 years, all of that money is gone just because. What am I supposed to say, Mr. Boss? You let me down. Now what?
Well, yeah, and I totally agree with you. Well, it's just that even though I have my own principles and beliefs, and I'm structured, me and my wife is structured in a way where we're more of the long lasting, we're long term. We our mindset on being together for as long as we can, no matter what. We willing to stick it through. It doesn't blur my ability to understand how people move today.
Oh
And
yeah, I can
whenever I'll
see it.
talk to him, you know, if I talk to a man and his woman, he tells me, hey, look, this woman said she don't date no broke man. You know,
Mhm.
she wants this lifestyle and she's not gonna settle for anything less. And this man is telling me he's about to marry this woman. I'm not gonna sit here and say, you need to go back and tell that woman if there's a situation where you get hurt at work or you go through some tough times or you end up broke, that she ain't supposed to keep her word or keep her belief or her principles on whether or not she gonna stick with you. She clearly stated her expectations and what she wanted to do in the beginning of the relationship. I'm not gonna tell him you need to correct her principles. I'm gonna tell him, you know what you're getting into, right?
Mhm.
If you ever fall, if you ever go broke, if it don't work out for you financially, if you gamble, and she decides that she want to part ways, don't be surprised.
Wow. I would tell a man that ain't no good deal.
I mean, I can't tell. I can tell him it ain't a good deal, but it's for him to make that determination off of the feedback I just gave him. It may
If
be
he
to some guys it may be a good deal for them because they also you gotta look at the other
Oh, if
side.
they have their own little
They
yeah, yeah, yeah.
also
I
had
get
their
what you're
own
saying.
deal.
Yeah, I got
Like,
what you're saying.
okay, I'm a
Mhm.
man.
Mhm.
You have to make sure that you eliminate all of my distractions. What are my distractions? How is a man distracted? Physical attraction, sexual satisfaction.
Mhm.
Stay on top of those and I won't be distracted.
Right.
If I'm sitting here eating a box of cornflakes, I'm sitting here eating, you know what cornflakes taste like. They don't have any frosting on them, they're not sugar. And I got 100 boxes of frosted flakes sitting around me. How long will it take before I start saying, I want some frosted flakes? If you keep yourself as a frosted flake, if you keep me sexually satisfied, you have a potential to eliminate most of the distractions that a man are conquer from veering off and wanna tap into temptations. And if you can't do that, she might gain weight. She might
Yeah.
get lazy. She might get tired. That may be his deal breaker. So I can't tell her that's a bad deal. If she willing to be with him, that's just his deal.
Yeah.
That's his deal. You have your deal breaker. He has his deal breaker. Yeah. Does it make sense? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it makes sense because in marriage you need foresight. Things always change. Remember, being in marriage, we make each other better and we grow up, we mature. Because there's so many things that can happen or that can come into our relationship that would alter our appearance, alter our need to have sex, alter our temptations, alter all of that. All that could be altered at a drop of a dime. Does that mean our marriage is over and you don't love me anymore? See, me, I just happen to think marriage is not about that. That is like a plus of marriage, sex and being intimate. I just think that's like a plus plus. And that's one thing, that's a huge part of being a wife is being submissive and being intimate and being, the manager of a home and being respectful. Those are all things that a wife should have automatically.
But
That's
what
not
did she
something,
learn? What did she learn what a wife should have? Where did she get that from?
where did she get it from? Well, see, I would always advise ladies, like I always do, if you want to be a wife, you need to align yourself with God, your creator, and find out what a wife looks like. But and again, going back to what you said, if a woman can't present herself to her man that way, I would advise him not to marry her because I would say I'm not saying she won't. I mean, at that time, meaning she needs to understand what a wife looks like in order to carry that out. Now, this is not always an easy thing because I told a story where I had to be prophesied to 2 times before I actually got the fact that I was being a wife on the externals. I was cooking, cleaning, doing all that stuff, sex, all that, but I didn't have the mental part of about being a wife. It wasn't clicking for me. So I can even see when it doesn't click for women, how they say, "Oh, I don't want to be a man's slave." See, being a wife never clicked because when you become a wife, you're not a slave. You actually love what you do and you own that position because you realize this is a special club or exclusive club, which is marriage that you're a part of. You have a man that is covering you. That's your husband. You are a wife. And if you, like I said, align yourself with the creator, you will figure out the job of a wife is a big deal. It's a
And
huge
when I
deal.
and when I asked the question, I was hoping you would say she would get her ability to learn how to be a wife from her mother and father.
No, I can't do that because I don't think that we've had good examples. Now you can get the externals from them, meaning she would know that the mom, the husband, the dad and mother may still be married. But that I don't know what that relationship looked like. My mom and dad were married to death. My mom died 2 years ago on Halloween. She knew she cooked, cleaned, did everything. She was there with my dad through the end. But my mom, due to traumas and things that she did not fix or had in her relationship, she didn't like men, in my opinion. She didn't like my husband. So if I would have received everything from her, then where would I be in my marriage? So I couldn't do that. And I knew I couldn't do that. And ask me how. I don't know. It was just something that said, you know what? This is not what you want, but I get it. Meaning I saw my dad being that person that delivered that provision, but he was not going to be my husband. Or that man, you get what I'm saying? You know how they always say, you marry your dad. That was not going to be my husband. So I got the relationship dynamic and I saw that it was necessary, but what was demonstrated for me was not what I wanted. So I had to go back to the originator of the thing and say, okay, tell me why this even makes sense. Why do you even bless this union? What is good about this nuclear family? Why? Why is it not okay to be sexually immoral? Everybody doing it. Why is it not okay to fornicate? Everybody doing it, why? And you have to build that relationship. This is me. And then it begins to speak to you and it gives you what you need in order to fulfill your position as a wife and also my husband as a husband. And then all those things that you just mentioned, all those selfish things that you mentioned, you no longer have to be selfish about them because they're poured upon you. And it's just like an everyday.
And I have everybody had their way, their method, how they understand, how they're able to get into it and make things work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My way is I I see how much I have a set amount of tolerance. Things I'm willing to tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
Things I'm willing to give a woman grace for. But she has to be impressionable. If she's impressionable, I can tolerate a lot more than when a woman is at a state where she's unimpressionable.
Right.
When she's stuck in her way. She has her lifestyle. She's not willing to bend. She wants me to fit into her system. Then my tolerance level is not the same. It's very low. It's very limited. And there's things that I'm not gonna, put up with. And that's why I try to. A lot of people might take this the wrong way. That's why I say a lot of men may want to target a younger, woman that hasn't been set in her way. You know what I mean? You may be able
Mm-hmm.
to impress her. So therefore, you might. When I met my wife, she was 6 years younger than me.
Mm.
She would party. You know what I'm saying? She had a lot of friends around her that may not compliment what we wanted, the direction we was going to. We had to cut some people off. I had friends too that I had
Mm-hmm.
to cut off. So because she was a lot younger and I saw where she came from, I saw that she came from a representation of a marriage. She had a mother and a father still in her life, still married for 30 years, similar to you.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I could give her a lot of grace. I knew that she was impressionable, you know, versus somebody who's not, who's sold already. They done been through the brink. They done been in and out of relationships. They can no longer adapt to a new mindset and mentality, embrace a new thought or principle,
Yep.
for the sake of, holding on to a relationship. They're at the breaking point. So every time they recognize a behavior that they already experienced in a negative way, they're cutting sling low. What do they call it in the church?
I don't know.
So actually, I think they call that in the military. I'm sorry. Got stuff mixed up. But yeah, so I know that these men are willing to tolerate. I mean, we live in a society where these women they're coming into the dating pool with all this trauma.
Yep.
And you got to have some type of tolerance, or otherwise you're going to disqualify every woman.
Yep.
Every woman is not going to qualify for you if you have these strict standards. I get it. I understand you want this perfect woman.
They
You're willing to go
liars,
and get a
bro. They
passport.
liars.
You're willing
They
to get a
liars,
passport.
bro. They liars.
No, you know what? I don't think that that's necessary. I'm kind of like what I say. You say adjust. What word did you just use? Adjustable? No, you didn't say adjust. They really
Adopt.
Adopt. Adapt is the actual word. Yeah, women do adapt to men. We do adapt to men. I am 5 to 6 years younger than Mr. Boss, so I think that's an actual good age, a good difference, Bruizzr. So I don't see that as a. I think that's a plus. And I think men actually teach women things. You know, y'all add a certain amount of logic, and women add the emotional. I think you put that thing together, you got a nice little balance. It's time to, once you made some money and got stable and secure in your environments, it's time to bring some kids into the situation. It's all can be done and it can all work out. But you're exactly right about women adapting. But like you said, in 2023, we have so much influence. It's not so much adapting anymore. You have to get a woman that is willing to adapt, because they don't know. We don't know everything. I realize that a lot of platforms, they may state that a woman needs to come here already ready. She needs to do this and that. And I'm just here to tell you, it's not like that. If she's willing, then it can be done, but she's not going to come. I did not come here knowing everything that was to know. I didn't. But like you said, I came from a decent background where I saw a husband and wife dynamic, and I realized that is what was blessed and needed to be. But my example was not a perfect example. And it's just like everything else. Your parents don't do all that. Well, some people don't. Mine didn't. All the bickering and arguing. You don't see the tough stuff. You really don't. My dad never walked out on my mom and left her. We never were destitute anywhere. We always had lights, water. We always had everything, clothing galore. We always went to the dentist, so I didn't see everything, but it was just something that I knew that, okay, I see what's going on here. This is necessary, but I want more. So what do I need to do? So that was the effort I had to put into. But listen, y'all, we are here, and Bruizzr I feel like we're having an outstanding conversation. I don't know what you think, Bruizzr, but I feel like we're having an outstanding conversation. But we got to bring the what do they call it? The finale video to you guys. Here it is. Pay attention.
Well, that's my only son.
At some point, he got to go.
Never no time.
I mean, at some point, he
never no time.
Man.
Never no time.
So are you choosing? Well, tell him, Christian.
No, you tell him. Well, you talking about you grown and you gotta go somewhere. I told him, you only son, you ain't going no damn way. You go when you get ready.
Man, I just feel at some point you need to make your own way. That's what I be wanting to walk through the house naked sometime, and there you go. So I mean, what?
No, if anything, you can go, not him. How about that?
I want to pay all the fucking bills in here. You gonna tell me where I can go?
But the thing is, like, why do I got this is my mama's house? Like, why do I gotta leave my mama's house?
Period.
Man, you damn near 40 years old. Damn near it's time to go. I mean, at what point?
I'm 29 now.
Well, that's pretty 10
But
years
you know what?
away.
When I met you was living with your mama.
Man, please. I was in and out. Come on, man.
You was living with your mama.
I was only 22 years old.
Now you gonna tell me because he 29.
I ain't getting up. I'm not getting up. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah,
my house.
Well, you ain't gotta go nowhere.
You know what? Damn it, I ain't gonna pay no bills either. Then, damn it. Now, how you feel about that? You don't want him to go? I won't pay the bills.
You gonna continue to pay the bills.
He got to go though, man. It's too much. See, we arguing and stuff about stuff.
But at the end of the day, all y'all do is tell me to help. Y'all ain't saying nothing. It's like,
man, you a grown ass man. You supposed to know the garbage overfill. You supposed to know to take that outside. Come on, man. I don't have to tell you all this stuff, man.
But the thing is, I'm barely here, so I'm barely making garbage. So why I gotta take the garbage out if I'm barely here? If I'm barely here, barely making garbage, barely making dishes, like why I gotta do anything?
She gonna always make excuses for you, man. But
he don't even be here. So what is you talking about? He don't be here like that. He come here, he sleep, and then he on business the rest of the day.
When he's here, he needs to help out. He needs to do some things. He needs to be productive.
He ain't paying no bills,
damn it,
and
he
ain't
gonna start paying some bills around.
I ain't paying. But I gotta pay.
I'd rather for him to fuck out.
But listen, my mama said I gotta pay no bills. I ain't paying no bills.
He gotta pay. What I want him to do is save his money and do what he needs to do with his money,
the whole reason why
and not pay no bills.
Because all this soft you bring it to him, he still got the titty in the mouth. You let all that stuff go on.
No, you know what I know? You jealous. You jealous of my son. You jealous of my son.
Only you would say some bull crap.
I don't know if you jealous or not, but I just know I ain't getting on my mama's house. Like, if I gotta get my mama's house, you gotta put me on my mama's house at the end of the day.
Well, damn it, I'm gonna be carrying you out. You got to go.
Oh, you don't mean you want to carry us both out then if that's
got no problem with carrying them out. I just shoot them on out. And you,
Michael, now you know good and damn well I'm not kicking my son.
what?
And respect
No, at the end of the day, I ain't worried about it. Like, at the end of the day, I'm here. I live here, so until I'm ready to get out, I'm gonna be here. So, it don't
At
matter.
what point is you trying to? What's your plans for this man? What's
my plan is to stay in here as long as I need to stay in here. That's my
And
plan.
what if he 45, 50?
And he gonna be 45, 50 up in here.
Crazy as hell. Well, damn it, I'm gonna be out there.
Bye.
No, he's going. He's going
Get
to
the
go
step
me.
in. Get the step in.
He's
Because
going.
this my
So I know you all heard that. And Bruizzr, we're going to go straight to you. What do you think about this interaction that mom had with her husband and her son? And now he said during their 40, but I thought I heard 29. So if he's making 29 during their 40, then I don't know. But I think the young man is right at about 29 years old. So what do you think about this?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that the actual father is not in his life. I think that would be a significant difference that the father was in the household. They failed him. The father and the mother of that child, of that man, they failed to bring him in the world and usher him into a way where he can go and sustain life on his own. So when you do fail, you have to take responsibility for your children, no matter what age they get to. It's her house. She has the right to allow him to live there legally. From a moral standpoint, a lot of men probably in that situation as a stepfather is not going to agree with me because they're coming into a house and they're playing a stepdad and they're paying the bills. But this man didn't, I don't know how long they've been together, but he didn't just turn 29.
Right.
You knew what was, like I say, you knew what was at the table. And if you didn't deal with that before you took the deal, then you don't have no right to tell this woman to put this man out of the house. Simple as that. It's a shame that you got to take care of, or you got to deal with the child of another man. It's another shame to have to deal with a child of another man under her roof. I could see. Now listen, I'm all ears. If this was his house, that man sitting at the end of the table, if that was his home, we'd have a whole nother different story. But it's not. You sitting here, you got a lease too, brother. So what do? You took this deal. You can't tell this woman to put. And I'm a firm believer on holding on to your children as long as you can until they bloom. If you fail to give them the necessary tools, and expose them to the necessary things they need to fly on their own, then it's your responsibility to take care of them. You just can't throw them to the world. It just doesn't work like that. So I know it might be a lot of people might disagree, but that's just what I believe in. And I believe the man sitting there might have to just pack it up and peel out. He probably should. These are the things you gotta talk about and communicate way before you walking around with your boxes on in somebody else's house. You got to talk about this. This should be one of the first conversations you had when you have children that are not yours involved in a relationship at that age. And if you don't do that, then you try to make a drastic change or force somebody to make a drastic change. I can understand why she felt like that. I can't, there's nothing in this video is telling me that this man communicated this expectation in the beginning of the relationship when he was getting those cheeks. He wasn't concerned about this 29-year-old being in the house. He was probably fine in the beginning. He didn't communicate that he had a problem with him or how long is this kid gonna be living here? I don't, there's nothing in this video that's leading me towards that they had any communication on that. So you didn't talk about it, you didn't find a problem with it, then you can't bring it up later.
So let me ask you a question or two. But I first want to, I got to ask this question. When a man and a woman gets married, do you think that is there anything that supersedes that marriage?
No, I don't think there's nothing that supersedes that marriage so long as you state the terms. If you state the terms, then you got to go by the term. I don't believe there's no imaginary terms. I get it. A lot of people come from a religious background. There's this religious, righteous, spiritual standard on marriage because God created marriage for us. But if we're being really honest with each other, a lot of people aren't really going that route.
So what does that
So
mean?
so what that means is you have to communicate these things. You have to be clear. You have to have some clarity
But that
on
doesn't
what do you
change the
believe
point,
in.
though. It doesn't change the point. It doesn't change the point that nothing supersedes the marriage. Whether we have to remind someone of it or state it in the beginning, the idea of me and whomever, me and my husband becoming married, we're going into this union knowing that nothing supersedes this marriage, whether it's rent, children, cars, lottery tickets, whatever the situation may be, nothing supersedes this marriage. Because see, this is what I miss in this whole thing is that there was no relation. I didn't get that there was any relationship or communication with the married couple, like you said, prior to being married. It didn't seem like it was any kind of relationship there or any type of conversation or communication about anything. Because even the fact of it being her house. I just don't know if many men would allow or would go into a situation where a woman would be able to say, "This is my house. I am going to dictate what goes on in my home." That tells me that there was no marriage relationship or communication to how we're going to run this relationship prior to them being married. So I agree with you on the fact of uh, he couldn't come in later on and be like, "Hey, you got to get out." But I'm just asking because of all the wrong things that I see in their situation, because I don't want anybody else to walk into this situation this way or with their eyes closed. Because if a woman does have a home, and obviously you don't, or who knows the situation, they didn't touch on it. Either you find a place to put her or you're not ready to take care of her, or she needs to come where you all and guess what though, it doesn't make it his. It goes the same for me. If it was his home and he allowed my son and myself to come in, it would be him and I having a conversation to the point where it's time for my son to go out and be on his own. It wouldn't be, "This is my house and he doesn't have to go anywhere." Because me and him, my husband, we're one. We're acting and working together because that's the relationship that we should have. That's the foundation that people thrive in. We just want to always stay so broken. That's why we can't work this thing out. Just because 2023 is dictating something else. No, you don't want to be in dysfunction all your life. Get back to the basics. Me and you need to be on one accord. I don't care how hard it is. We got to see our way through it. And then it's going to work itself out. Because a 29-year-old ain't going to, guess what? The man just asked for a plan. He asked the woman after all of that, out of all of the disrespect, out of all of the ego there was, he said, "So what is your plan?" So it could have been as simple as, "Well, let's put him in, let's help him find a job. Let's help him do this, or let's just set up this for him." Whatever the situation was, let's get a plan for this grown man, because that's what we're supposed to do. He's
And
the man.
you saying the really, really key words. You're saying you say that that's what it should be.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we're supposed to be.
Exactly.
When you make statements like that, you assume that these people are predisposed to similar beliefs. And what all I'm
No.
saying is
No, I
people
don't think
today
that
don't.
they are. Wait, hold on for a minute, Bruizzr. I'm sorry. I don't think that they are. I don't think that it's there for them. So that's why I'm saying we can't negotiate with that. If we give them how it's supposed to be and say this is how it's supposed to be, some of them might grab it and walk along with it instead
Yeah.
of just letting them. That's what I mean.
Okay,
That's
so
what, that's what I mean.
we speaking the same language because I realize that people are coming from different backgrounds, different belief systems.
Mhm.
We live in a society where the standard is so scattered, it's so different. The communities are broken up. There used to be a time where we had one standard. Everybody had the same family values, the same principles they went by, the same perspective. We don't have that anymore. It's very diverse. So you have to state it. You have to talk about it. You have to communicate expectations ahead. If you don't, and you just presume that people are gonna follow the same code of ethics, um, the same principles, then you're gonna be in a situation where you don't want to be in, similar to what this dude is in right now. Because I see it a lot. I see a lot of people saying they just look at the color of your skin, the way you talk, the music you listen to. Oh, you're just like me. You come from the same background. You'd be surprised once you start having a conversation. Y'all come from a totally different background. Y'all might be black Americans, but y'all household and what y'all believe and the parenting style, all those things are different. You're gonna have to really have to come down and say, look, where are we compatible at?
Right.
Can we make this work? And a lot of people just get lazy at that point, and a lot of them get clouded by the fetishes, the fantasies, the sex appeal, and all these other sweet things and gestures and materialistic things. And then when it's time to talk about the serious things, you done got 2 to 3 years into the relationship, or 2 to 3 kids into the relationship, to where the things that matter to communicate with, you stumble upon them and you're surprised. You're like, oh, whoa, this is not what I expected. Now what do you do?
And I
Do you
agree with this.
still say marriage no matter what? We're gonna push it through, or do you bow out?
Marriage no matter what, because that's what we started. It was our fault that we entered into it in dysfunction. Now it's time to clean up. We don't have to live in dysfunction all our lives. Whether clean it up with this person instead of taking that same dysfunction to the next one. Because you still don't know where you went wrong. You still haven't accounted for the decisions that you make. So fix it. Fix it right here, because you're both wrong. Fix it and then make it right. We both dysfunction.
Dearly beloved.
And just make it right. This is how I see it, because we all got
That's
dysfunction
how you
somewhere
see
in
it.
us. You know,
And you got that. That is how I see it. I believe you got it from something's telling me from a book you read that you stated before, where you picked up empathy and compassion for your loved one. We have to understand that a lot of women and men are not doing that.
I
They're
agree.
just simply bowing out. They're frustrated, that they're hurt. The circle of friends around them are not pushing them to stay in it. Yeah, I done had friends and family members tell me to vacate so many times based off of scenarios. In my very first marriage, I just said, the next go around, I'm not talking about none of this stuff to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna deal with it myself. I'm gonna
Right.
talk to people who are married. I'm not gonna talk to my single friends that want to go to Dubai every summer.
Right.
You know, you gotta really know your personnel that's around you, who you're gonna bring things to. Because depending on who they are, they can really influence you into making a drastic decision that you really don't want to make.
A selfish decision. It becomes all about you. Is really what it
Exactly.
is. I mean, it may not have that appearance on the surface, but once you really get to it, because it's all there to make you feel good, to make you feel whole, to make you feel like, okay, what you did was okay because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. So whatever it is, it's good. But Bruiser, you're everything you're saying in my own way, I am agreeing with you. It's just that I would like for our culture to come back a bit. Not everybody's gonna make it, right? But the ones that want to have a good life, that want to be involved in a marriage, that want to have a nuclear family, that want to have good, clean living, or what have you, not perfect. I would like to share with them some experiences and some examples of how they can do it. And they have to make the decision of, uh, you know, walking it out versus adapting to what 2023 is offering when I already know that it's not going to work. Because when we dealing with two different people, man and woman, we both bringing two different things to the table. We both can't, somebody got to make a decision. And if the man is allowing the woman to make a decision, he's just got out of alignment. And when he is out of alignment, then the house is going to suffer, whether we can see it at face value or not. Vice versa, when the man is controlling the situation, or he's not doing exactly what he's supposed to do as a leader, then the wife is getting out of her position as the manager or the helpmate for the husband, then the marriage suffers this way. we have to be in somewhat of alignment in order for it to work. You can always tell, and it always, I hate to say it, but it always kind of comes down to the kids. The kids kind of, they're the ones that kind of suffer. It comes out in them, regardless,
The
believe it or
most
not,
vulnerable.
because
Yep.
yeah, even you might not even see how it's playing on them, but it comes out through them. They start acting out, and you be like, "Wow, I didn't even know I did that." Or they might start doing something different, or you know, may start identifying with something that they shouldn't identify with because now they're around people in school that they're identifying with this. Oh, seems really cool because those roles that we're supposed to be in the nuclear family are not being defined. Now, some people say, well, what do we need roles for? Now, when they say that, I can look at their situation and say, this is why. Because it
Exactly.
doesn't look, it doesn't look right to me. But I get what everybody is saying, and I get others' reality, but I gotta create my own reality. I gotta believe what works for me because I have the results that it works. Now,
Exactly.
what am I saying? I'm not saying my life is perfect. I'm not saying that me and Mr. Boss have all the answers for everything. We do not in any way. But I am satisfied, and I feel like I am a better person being in this marriage and being with my husband than I would be as a single woman out there trying to keep up with the liberation of the whatever being equal with some man, which I never wanted to be in my life.
And that's similar to what I do. I try to. I say, "Hey, look, you want to know how I did it?" And if they say yes, a lot of times they don't want to know. They may feel intimidated by
Right.
my approach, and it made me feel like they could do the same things I did, or deliver, what I had to offer my wife. So a lot of times they don't really want to entertain that conversation. But if I really would be happy if most men would be like, "Yo, Bruizzr, how did you get it to work? How did your marriage work? What is the recipe that you use?" And then that's when I would go into detail about, how I made sure I became a man first that was able to take care and make sacrifices, take care of a household. I had the ability, I had the capability of being a father. You know, uh, I had discipline enough to not go out here and be a womanizer, be promiscuous, whatever you want to call it. I knew how to behave. You know what I'm saying? I worked on things in ways to where if I want to do something, if I wanted to make a decision, I always focus on I looked at reversibility. If I make this decision
Mm.
that's so drastic,
Mhm.
can the outcome be reversed before I even make a decision? Because there's decisions I've made that once I made them, there's no turning back. So if you think like that, your decision making would be more in a positive light than a negative if you think about the outcome first. So I always
Absolutely.
try to reverse engineer where I wanted to go to in life, reverse engineer the relationship I wanted to have. What type of man do I need to be to this woman? And I made it clear that I use this woman. Can't I can't use woman no more. Statistics today are you can go and use, you can try to go by them, but you're gonna find yourself single for a while. You have to go woman by woman. You have to look at a woman. You have to curate your approach to dating to the person that's in front of you. If you don't do that and you put all this stuff, you load all these things on this person's shoulder, they had nothing to do with all of the experiences you had or whatever ideas or thoughts about a woman. You gotta focus on this woman. What is she like? Not what do women like? What does this woman right here? What is Tiffany like?
Right.
What does Tiffany expect out of me? Do I align with that? Am I willing to make adjustments to align? Does those things make sense? I think men are going into the dating pool and the dating market saying, what do women like? Instead of just focusing on this beautiful person right here and learning her, sitting there having a conversation with her and figuring it out. But no, we want to say, oh, black women this, black women that. But there's a lot of innocent black women out there that's not doing those things. And you just happen to not run up on them. I'm telling you, there's some beautiful black women out there that's willing to be down with your program. You just got to
Right.
stop looking at them as a category. You have to look at a black woman as this black woman. Say her name. You know what I'm saying? Say her name and talk to her. Don't say black women. Don't say black women and doing this. Black women are out of order. We got to stop that. We got to look at a woman individually and grade her and evaluate it on her merits alone, individually. And we should, and it's only fair that she do that to you. And that's how you get there. You know what I'm saying? You because we come with these preconceived notions on a mass scale, and we grading these women on a mass scale. We are associating them to terms and negative things, and it's just making it more harder for us to meet compatibility when we're trying to get in a relationship. But I'll let you go, man.
So Bruce, I got to tell you something, but I want you to answer a question too. The first thing I'm going to tell you though is I'm going to give you your flowers because you are definitely a standard. And I hope that you get gratification out of being the man that you are. Because not all men have reached that type of maturity or wisdom. Not everybody has it. But the question I want you to answer is, Mr. Trey says, who has that kind of time?
I guarantee you, anything he do in life, anywhere he go in life, he make time for it. And if you love this woman enough, you're gonna make time for her. I made time for my woman. I moved everything out of the way for my woman. If I knew that there was issues or this thing that we didn't see eye to eye on, I took off work. I said, baby, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna have dinner at the restaurant you want. Tell me all the problems that you have with me. Show me all the issues we're going through. Help me figure out how to be the man you want me to be. You make time for that. If you gonna make time for your boss to say, hey boss, sit me down in the conference room. Show me how to get promoted. Show me all the things you want me to do, all the tasks you want me to do this quarter so I can get promoted to the director position. What do I got to do? Then do that with your wife. She's going to carry your children, man. You owe
your
her.
potential. Yeah. He's saying, though, spoken like a man who hasn't dated in a decade. Was dating different 10 years ago, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dating was most definitely different.
Only 10 years ago? You think so?
Yeah. This woman, this 10 years of being with this woman, the woman I love, the woman I'm with, she helped me curate my mindset, you know, my ability to be emotionally sensitive to the female. These things that I didn't have, you know what I'm saying?
You mean that empathy, that compassion, it works on both sides, huh?
These things, I needed these things to be whole. You know what I mean? I didn't have it. I came in, you know, halfway. You know what I'm saying? She was my other half. I think when people make that comparison, I think that's what they're talking about. And she was that for me. You know, 10 years ago, I didn't know, you know, so I didn't know. I knew how to be a man, you know, but I didn't know how to be a husband. You get what I'm saying? I didn't know how to be a husband. She showed me how to be a husband. You know what I'm saying? And I showed her how to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? I showed her how to be a wife for me. She showed me how to be a husband for her.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? It's a layer deep. It's almost like you're a YouTuber and you're trying to find your niche and you got to keep going layers deep. You get in a relationship. How do you get a husband? How can you be a husband for her? You know, once you get to that part, man, everything is laser focused. You know her. You know everything she wants. You don't have to tell you to come help her with the groceries. You see her carrying about a bunch of bags. You just go down there and help her.
Oh, you knew she going to the grocery store, and when she back up in the
grocery store,
garage,
what time you getting back? You already outside waiting on the bags.
There you go. So
oh,
listen,
baby, you didn't call me, so I didn't think you knew I want. You know how women are. She's not gonna tell you that. She has a mindset to say that you should know.
Exactly. You should know.
And those are the things that when men surround themselves with other men, we communicate that stuff. Women don't do that. So you have to really change your mindset to really like, okay, this is a woman. She's more delicate. You have to be a little bit more emotionally sensitive to her feelings. And you have to know that a lot of stuff she's not going to want to tell you. You're supposed to pick up these things.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? She might tell you 1 or 2 times, but after that, she's going to expect you to know what type of flowers she wants. You know, she's going to expect these things. And it actually makes her feel good and make the relationship more stronger when you're able to know, you know, what rate her heart is beating at. You know, just You know, whenever you ever to know these things, it's actually fun. It's interesting. Like, damn, I actually feel good knowing that I got it right. You know, oh man, I got it
Absolutely.
right. And
And
it just,
you get rewarded for getting it right. What you're saying though is we just speak we are becoming one. We are on one accord. Now she's finishing my sentences, or I'm finishing her sentences, or how about this? We're in the same room and we can look up at each other and we know we thought the same thing and nobody opened their mouth.
yeah.
That's a real thing. Now I've said this a whole lot. And I really think people think I'm crazy, but that is a real thing. Me and Mr. Boss could be in the room. I look up and we are thinking the same exact
Yeah.
thing. And I'm sure it's because we've been around each other for so very long, but it happens just like that. And when that happens, it makes life so much easier because you now realize that, oh, you know what? I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. This is me, this is me, even though it's her, this is me. You see it for what it is supposed to be.
Oh.
So that is a
So
good
you
thing.
get to the point in life where, you know what? I want to get a reaction out of my wife. I'm gonna do something, and I already know how she's gonna react. I just wanted to be in that feeling because I know what it leads to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can kind of pre-plan those intimate moments by doing certain gestures or saying certain things that's gonna really get her juices flowing. I mean, I didn't mean to be like
No,
that,
I understand.
but you know,
Things
really get her
it
going
happens. We're
so it
older,
can
but
happen
it
where you
ain't it
want to
ain't
happen.
over. We're over.
Yeah.
We older, but it ain't over. Gotcha.
So yeah, man,
So
it's a beautiful thing once you able to have that chemistry.
yeah. So listen, it's gonna keep that if you can, because I think me and Mr. Boss been I can't keep okay. We have been together so long, it had gotten to the point that he could not surprise me. He couldn't. But he was always working at it. And I must say, he surprised me on my birthday. No, it wasn't my birthday. It was the 4th of July, the Thursday after the 4th of July. It was a car that I wanted, but he had bought me another car on my birthday that October prior. So so I just discounted. I just said, you know what? I like it, but I like the car you bought me. This is cool. So on the 4th of July weekend, the weekend before the 4th of July, we went and we saw the car that I actually wanted because they actually had them in the showroom. Because since it was COVID, they were not making these cars to put out to sell or whatever, I guess. So anyway, we actually saw the car and I was like, oh my God, that's the car. So we pulled in and we saw the car. My husband's like, I like that car a lot. I was like, I know, babe, but I got the one. You got me this one right here for my birthday last the October before. So I'm good. We're good. It's good. And so I said, okay. He went and bought that car, and I didn't know anything about it. And you know how he had to jump through some serious hoops. He went and created email addresses and did all this stuff to buy this car so I wouldn't know
Mm.
because we care so much. There's no way that he could have like gotten the insurance information and have it without me being like, well, hey, what are y'all doing? Adding this to what's going on? I'd have been questioning because I was seeing. So he went and created the email. He came back and thought of this story like, yeah, babe, um, I was gonna, get that car, but I told him we'll just wait. I said, okay, that's fine. I'm good. It's good. And he was like, okay. So he came driving it home that Thursday after the 4th of July. Came driving it home, and I said, "They let you test drive this car?" He was like, "No, I bought it. It's yours." And I was like, I can't believe it. He surprised me. He surprised me. He surprised. That has been, I mean, I can almost say that has been the only time he's actually surprised me, probably in the last, surprise, probably in the last 10 to 15 years. Because
Mm.
because we are so tight. I see everything. But that one right there, I didn't see that one. He was like, he was walking on eggshells, like, don't you this number, don't you do this, don't you do that. And he pulled that one off. I mean, he really did. He planned the whole thing out. I didn't have to say or do anything. He was like, no, it's yours. You go ahead. And I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. So keep that up. If you can continue to surprise her, that's an outstanding thing. I don't care too much about being surprised, but he did do an excellent job when he bought me my newest car, my
That
latest
is
car.
nice because and my wife is the one who actually showed me how important that is, being able to surprise her, how interested it is, and how excited it gets her. Before I met her, I didn't know that those things, surprises, when we actually put the thought into it and work
Yes.
hard to impress you,
Uh-huh.
that you would react in such a way.
Oh yeah.
So once
We
once
worked
you
for
start
that
teaching
one.
me those things, because I struggled in the beginning. Now I used to be like, "Hey, what you want from the store?"
Exactly. Bruizzr, that's exactly. That's the perfume you want. I got you, babe. I'm telling you, it would be just like that. And then over the years, it would be like, come on, babe, let's go to the mall. It's your birthday. And see, even now, I can't surprise him. I just can't. He's like in everything. He was like, just the other day, I was trying to do something nice, and he was like, "Babe, you always buy me perfume. This is so nice." I cannot surprise him at all. I don't even know how. I
Y'all
don't
done
even know
ran
how to
out of
do it.
surprises, man.
No, he just buys. He's the spender. He's the
Oh,
spender. So he is the spender. So he's always, if he say, you know what, I like something. The next thing I see, it's in an Amazon box or some box at the front door. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, I
He
didn't
done
get
beat you
that
to
one.
it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so maybe the next time he'll say, I like something else. The next thing I see, okay, there it is. And then electronics is his thing. So I can't win with that. So I guess he's good. He was like, you don't have to surprise me. But he got me though, and then guess what? That one big surprise that he just got me, it's gonna last for another 5 years though.
I know that's right,
So
man.
I'm good. So, but that is so good to hear. But again, I definitely want to let you know that you are a standard, and not every man is going to want to be like you or think that he can even have the ability to be like you. But what I do see is that I had a show called A Standard, and it was four individuals on the show. It was two young ladies and two young men. Out of those four, three of those people have gotten married within the last year.
Awesome.
Yes, it is. Only one is one lone ranger out there. And those young people, I was like, wow, this is good. This lets me know that marriage is still an option, even though there are fears, even though they're here on these platforms, they still want that type of companionship and they're willing to do the work. And I hope that they always know that I'm here for them. Those and any young person that wants to do this type thing, I'm there for you. So I want you not to, and I'm saying this for myself too, because there's so many times I do want to, I'm not gonna say give up, but I do throw my hands up sometimes because it's like, okay, you don't want this. You just you just playing around. I don't even know what you're doing. But you know what I'm saying? You get kind of exhausted in your well-doing. And I hope you don't do that. I hope you keep going and continue to be that example. But if nothing else, for your own good life and your own good living and satisfaction for yourself, just continue to do, and your wife, of course, your family, continue to do it. Um, don't get weary in it because it's just so easy to be regular.
Trust me, I'm not gonna get weird with it. And I think that's the reason why God blessed me with two sons, because now I can teach them, I can reinvent it and re-perfect it and re-optimize it and teach them how I did.
Right,
And I'll
right,
be able
right.
to relive those scenarios and that excitement through them. So
Very good, very good. Well, listen, okay, listen. This is a time we have had an excellent conversation. I appreciate you so much for being here. I
yeah,
don't stay on YouTube all night.
me
I
neither.
do what I gotta do, get in and get out.
Hmm.
So again, I appreciate you for being here. Um, and again, we have to do this again. I appreciate your conversation so much. But go ahead and again shout out your channel and where they can find you. And we're gonna say good night.
All right. So y'all, I'm glad y'all stayed with me. I hope y'all liked the conversation. Appreciate having me on. Security boss said it. I'll be back. So y'all make sure y'all come and tell all your friends.
All
I'm
right.
at the Love Cause
I can't
podcast.
sit
I'm
still for a minute.
currently
I'm
trying to figure my way out with that content, but
Charlie,
it's
sit
coming.
down with them. Let's get around.
All right.
80.
So
Round
listen, guys, it has been a terrific night. Bruiser, thank you so much for being here. And until then, y'all may see me on Wednesday, but until then, y'all have a good rest of the day. I'll be back soon. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take up all of the floor. I'm fine with standing at the edge of the door. You be the life of the party. You drink it all the Bacardi. Let's take it back for this started. You want the love, I don't got it. You screaming, stay, please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to flow. It's so different with distance we roam into zones where nothing get hurt anymore. I just wish I was home when I stepped through front door, but instead I'm alone and completely unsure. And even though you're screaming out with the best of intentions, I don't get it. Why do you always gotta ask me to stay? Why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. Why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. See, I've been lost in my thoughts, and my thoughts they too are scared to usher off. Sorry, Mom, I just thought you were my world. Now you're not. And I'm just sitting, smoking, sloping in a daze, cause my days ain't been the same since I drove here. I remember the way you wrote letters in blue ink. You and me was in love. What your crew think? I know your moms probably think I'm a bastard. Your pops probably want to beat my death and take a in my casket, but I got sick of fighting, bickering, fussing over nothing, cussing, instead of watching the death of discussions that we once had, days that we once spent in the backseat of our cars reading poets at sunset. It's funny how love can fall out the foreground, get pushed into the back of your mind. We used to twist a spliff and laugh and relax. Are you crying? And I'm trying to find the reasons, so I ask, does forever ever happen, or is it always fade to black? I can't stay. Oh, I always gotta go. Playing house to stay home with my soul on the road. I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house to stay home with my soul on the road.